this is Vulture, and I'll be showing you about bump maps today in Maya. In my render view here, you can see two objects showing similar relief information, sort of like bubble paper, but the two objects are actually quite different. So let's go into the scene. You can see one of the objects is polygons, and the other object is just a flat piece of shit plane. It's just a flat plane. Yet they both show render similarly. This is done with what's called a bump map. So you can see there's no color information on this plane. It's not a picture of a plane with circles in it. You can see if we render it from different angles, the light will react appropriately. So let's show you the bump map. Go into the material attributes and then the bump mapping channel, and I have my procedural here. I don't want to show you how procedurals work today, but I do want to show you how bump maps work. So as you can see here, I have a round whitish type texture, and that sort of corresponds to the round whiteness here. So white is up, black is down. So if we increase the area of the black, the white area the up white area should shrink, and so it does. And vice versa. That looks stupid. Let's try that. Great. So white is up, black is down. Now, bump maps, of course, don't need to be circles. It could be any sort of texture that is black and white to show up and down information. So let me just show you that real quick. Let's use something like that. Great, concrete. So bump maps are really good if you're starting out, or if you don't have access to those sexy programs out there like ZBrush or Mudbox, the ones that make what are called normal maps. These are just bump maps, black and white information, which you can make in Photoshop easily. Bump maps are usually used in games, environmental assets, because they're quite small in size, and they're easy to make through textures sourcing. So you'll see them on like a wood fence, the wood of a fence to show wood grain, but they can be used for other purposes. So usually you would use what's called a normal map on a character or character assets like a gun, but you can use bump maps similarly. So if you have like a gun handle that's wood, you can build relief information into the wood handle with a bump map easily through Photoshop. So I'm going to show you how we do that next in the next part of this video. Okay, next I'm going to show you how to use Photoshop to add definition through bump maps. So right here I have a flat plane with a picture of a road, no bump map. It's just a road on a plane, and if you render it, you can see it's just a road on a plane. So what we want to do is add some detail, some cracks, some stuff like that to make how it renders much more interesting, much more realistic. So let's go into Photoshop. And here's my road texture. It's pretty much just a tileable tileable asphalt texture, and then some lines I crappily painted in. So let's see what we can do with this. So I guess we want the asphalt to give some definition of like a rough asphalt texture. So I'm going to take this, adjustments, black and white, because it's got some color information in it. We don't want the color information. And there we go. That's a bump map right there. And then we kind of want the road paint to sit above that somehow. On a road they use thick paint to paint lines and it sits above the asphalt a little bit. So let's do that. So we could do the same thing to this, but unfortunately yellow isn't pure white, so they wouldn't come out the same color, and they would be different heights. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to hit Control and then click on the picture of the layer to get the selection of the pixels. I'm going to make a new layer, and then I'm going to fill that layer with the selection we made with white. And there we go. That's not white, that's gray. We want white. Ugh. Son of a bitch. Let's start over. Make a new layer. Get out of here, Agenor. I don't care about you. You're covering up my menus. There we go. We did it right that time. We're super smart. And that right there could be a bump map. But we want some cracks too. Now I got some cracks I made beforehand, which I added in. It's just black pixels. I don't want to show you today really how to make these from source images, but I'll show you what they are. They're just, it's just black pixels, nothing else. Rest is transparent. And I just slapped them all over the place. And there, that's pretty much a bump map, so let's give this a save. Test it out. Go through my terrible files. Textures. Road bump. And let's go into Maya. Hook that bump map up. There we go. Let's give it a render, see what it looks like. And not bad. You can see you got a lot more color information than you did before. You got your cracks and your lines are sitting above it. Unfortunately, there's some things I'm not happy with. First of all, the asphalt isn't giving as much definition as I wanted, and these lines they look like Swiss cheese. They're way too high contrast, and the way they trail off, it looks like they're made by cookie cutters or mice eating maniacally through the road. So we got to fix that, and the cracks aren't deep enough. So, alright, let's start by fixing let's start with the asphalt. We'll start with the base. So let's go into Photoshop, and let's look at it. Now you can see it's not very high contrast. The differences in color isn't too much. So we could fix that. Where are you? There you are. Image adjustment levels. What this will do is you can narrow the range of color information a bit. Something like that. That might be too much. Let's narrow it a little more. Yeah, let's try that. Okay. We'll try that. Fucking goddamn files. No. Word. Let's give it another render. It's almost too much. So let's try one thing with that. So when you get too much information, too high contrast, you can hit it with one of these. Make it all bright or make it all dark. Or you can mess with the contrast. It's obviously not going to do very much. And we already removed a lot of the color information, unfortunately, through the levels. But what we can do is you can make a new layer, put it below it, make it, you know, some sort of grayish color, and fill it. And you can see we just made that underneath the asphalt. And let's take this, lower the opacity. Something like that. How's that? That's good. Save that out. Check it out. Clicky clicky. Oh, this was the before. We'll save that. And let's check that. Yay. Got some good shadows happening in here. Around, you know, the pieces of asphalt. The cracks, since we adjusted the whole layer, the cracks are more apparent now too because of that. But we still have this problem with the Swiss cheese lines, so let's fix that real quick. That should be easy. Oh, let's go to our lines layer, wherever you are. There you are. Let's zoom in. All we could do is we can double click on the layer, bring up the layer style menu, do an inner glow, set the inner glow to black, I suppose, set it to multiply, and you can see that sort of brings up a shadow that you can adjust. Let's do that. It's still a little dark, so we'll lower the opacity. There we go. That's pretty good. Do you want softer or precise? That killed it. So that's looking okay. Maybe shrink it a little bit. That looks good. Save as. Some terrible file path. And save it. Reload it. Hey, that's pretty sweet. Not bad. Now, the cracks are a little apparent, and I could show further changes you could do, but I don't want to do that because this is just an introduction to different things you could do in Photoshop. So I'll just go over really quick what we learned. On the asphalt layer, we turned it to black and white to make it get rid of all the color information, and then we did a levels adjustment to shrink the range and make it a little bit more high contrast, and then after that we made a blank layer of gray and then put it underneath the asphalt layer and then lowered its opacity to chill it out a little bit, so you get high contrast but not a lot of difference in height, if you know what I mean. Probably not. And then we did a layer style on the lines of a inner glow to sort of round off the edges, chill it out a little bit. So there you go. You can apply this to sort of workflow and these tools to most any types of bump mapping. I might do another one later on how to really leverage bump maps and do some crazy stuff like logos and stuff like that, but not today. This is just how they work. This recording's way too long anyways. I gotta pee. So this is Vulture, and I'll be showing you about bump maps today in Maya. As you can see here, I have two objects that render similarly, kind of like bubble paper. And this recording is terrible. It's terrible. It's so terrible. Make it stop.